Anyway, I grew up listening to people like Bob Dylan. The times they are a-changing, and what? A very famous one of his first, Blowing in the Wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? That song was written by a boy named Laurie Wyatt, who went to our high school. He was in the graduating class of my brother Rick, and it was sold to the company who sponsored Dylan, and it was sold for $1,000, and that money was given to charity. It doesn't really matter who wrote the song. Dylan wrote lots of wonderful songs, and some of them are enough to bring tears to my eyes and lots of other people. I was lucky enough to see him perform when he was still a young man, and I saw Joan Baez as well, and a few other people. I went out of my way to try to see a number of things, and yet I had no money, but anytime I found a break in time. I did not have a car until after I came to this country, but I had a bicycle and for a little while a motor scooter, but I always had a thumb and I always had my feet. So I traveled around to see the country that I grew up in. And I can tell you, when I put my thumb out and got rides from people, I never had a problem. I got taken to lots of places. Some people bought me a meal. Some people gave me a place to stay. And I saw some of the wonders of North America. The rest of them I had to see in books or on television or film. And I've done the same in this country. I got around, tried to see Australia. And I've advised a number of people to do that. If you're from Australia and you think you want to go to some other place, by all means go there. But you should also go, I used to say to them until this year, you have a whole continent here. There's no border patrols, there's no border police, there's nobody there going to check to see who you are and where you're going, what you're carrying, apart from fruit. And you should go and see your country if you can do that. We're very lucky to live in a time when you can travel. We have our chariots. Anyway, these are some plants. I put some in a line, and after the cameras leave this evening, tomorrow I'll be getting ready to go to a market and try to sell things. I sat in bed with my wife the other day for a few minutes with coffee and an arm around her, and we were just talking about our lives together. We often don't have time to talk about them. We have some photos. But I was reminded that we've been going to markets for a long time. I hand people my card. It says that I'm a botanist and a naturalist, and that's true, and a nurseryman, and was a teacher. And some people look at it and they say, oh, a nursery, you have a nursery. And I can see their eyes glaze over as they imagine picking lots of flowers and walking around in a crinoline dress. But, you know, this is a lot of work here, and it took a lot of work to do it. In this case, it was work and love. And you probably know, because I probably mentioned it before, but every plant on this property was born here, except about 20 that have come in the gate as gifts. No money has ever touched or sullied any of their lives. And I don't know if money ruins them, but it certainly ruins humans. I've seen countless ones come into some kind of money and change their lives in ways that are not good for them. None of these have been sprayed with any chemicals of any kind. And you may or may not know, but almost everything that happens to you can affect your genes. I spent quite a bit of time studying genetics, and one of the things I learned by doing that was that while it is a field of study, like many fields of study, it is new, and men really do not quite understand what they're doing now. They should not be messing around with genes at all, of course, and we should not be applying too many things to our skin or swallowing too many things that did not exist, because almost all of them can change your genes a little as your body reacts to the kinds of things that you are exposed to. We are creatures that are in an unbroken line back in time for 1 billion years. And of course, if you deeply believe that the Bible is the Word of God, etc., and the world was created 4,000 years ago, and everything has been created by God, and the scientists are just crazy, then you probably won't want to hear some of this. But some of these creatures have lived tens of thousands, millions of years, wherever it was they lived. And then some things happen. Sometimes it's a fire. Sometimes it's wind, sometimes it's a flood, and sometimes it's some crazy animal. And we are the crazy animals now. Here's one that's just sitting here. I've taken it to market, I think, 20 times. I think I've only sold one or two. It's one of the most important plants on this planet. It's paper mulberry from China. It does have a fault, and that fault's pretty common. At market, I lay these plants out and I put signs on them, labels, something about them. People can look at it. These days they point their phone at it, take a picture of it, point it up at the satellite, and down comes the information they need. Almost makes me unnecessary, except that I do know something about how to grow them, and maybe a bit more than that little bit on the phone. This is the origin of paper from about 6,000 BC. It's also the origin of ship's ropes and sailcloth. There are, of course, other plants that are used for those things too. The beauty of the plant, and I was going to say, people come and they look and they say, oh, I love that. Oh, I like that. I've seen that somewhere. Oh, I think I want that. It doesn't get really big though, does it? And I say, well, it does get bigger than I think you think it does. You can keep it smaller. It doesn't spread and take over, does it? What, you mean like humans? Things do what they do. They all wish to live here. They do not do what we do. They don't take over. They're not going to take over your yard in a couple of years. You get time, camera people, if you later you can come and have a feel. This plant's very hairy. In the first couple of weeks of COVID, there was a toilet paper shortage, and I went to an op shop and I got some Mills and Boon newspaper type paper. They're printed on romances, romance fiction, and they're just throwing them out. Some people buy them, some people love them. But I put them up in a stack for alternative toilet paper. I found a book by Mr. Trump and I put it out, and another one by Rupert Murdoch and put it out as alternative toilet paper. I also brought leaves from this plant and two others that could also work as toilet paper. This, if you had a feel of it, you might find, I could use that.